Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within.
Well, let's go. Let's do it. It's your boy, the Coach Low for Life, a.k.a. the Camp King. And we're live in the film room. Not the boom boom room. We're in the film room. And like you said, it's a mindset of greatness, guys. A commitment of greatness, a sacrifice of greatness, and a passion of greatness. We about to have all four tonight. Live in the film room, right there on Sports Club. And you've seen it already on Boston Sport. You've seen it right on the network. You see how we coming live, we coming strong. But I can't come strong by myself. I can't do it alone. I got to do it with two of the baddest guys in the business. We're going to break it down to the funky sound backed up by James Brown. We're going live. We're going to got some live information for you tonight. And y'all better hold on to your seat. Get on that horse. Scrap it up. Scrap it down. Get your pen. Get your pad. Because we in the film room tonight and breaking down the NIL. And who I got with me? You're going to do it with one choice. It is Mr. Right Choice. My man, Tremaine Wright. Tremaine, what's going on?
Man, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Mr. Right Choice with Mr. AKA and Mr. Camp King. It's glad to be back. We took a week off last week because it was a championship match between Indiana and Miami. Indiana put it off. So we back again because one thing we want to do is stay consistent, bring on guests here that gives you guys real impact, doing something a little different. So we're back again this week, and we have a special guest that's going to be coming on in just a second. One of the Coach Lowe, good friends. He was on the Listen to Lowe podcast a couple of years ago. That he's about to come on here and to give you guys some real insight. Influence Council is his company's name, Mr. Dan LaFlores. He's been doing a lot of great things. A lot of the kids that he's representing, we know, has a good relationship with. A lot of them have trained also with Coach Lowe too as well. One thing about us, we are social proof. So we're just not bringing people on here and blowing smoke up you or anything like that. These are kids we actually work with, people we actually work with, and we also see results. And also Coach Lowe's daughter, is also represented by Mr. Dan LaFlores too as well, because our daughter played at Norfolk State this previous year, playing volleyball as a female. So with all that said and done, we're going to go ahead and bring on the man himself, Mr. Dan LaFlores. What's going on, Dan?
What's going on?
I tell you, I feel missed out. I don't have a nickname.
Well, you want to be, instead of Don King, we'll call you Dan King.
All right, I like that. All right. So, first of all, Lowe's representing the Influencer Council hat. I don't have mine with me right now. So, Lowe, thanks for picking up the slack on that. But, yeah, I tell you what, man, just got out of the portal, and our guys were batting 1,000. They all got into the right spots in the right situations. And, a lot of this movement that's going on right now in the NIL world, there's still, I believe, 1,100 kids that are still stuck in the portal because they've gotten bad advice or they were in a bad situation that, they're just, we don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I tell you one thing, just to piggyback what you said, even to kick it off, you said 1,100, and I was just last week, it was 1,226 to be exact. I did that homework myself. 1,226 in the portal last week, live, active. And you telling me in 1 week only moved 100 numbers, moved?
In all fairness, I'm rounding around. I mean, it could be 900. I really don't know. The reality is that, most of the schools have filled their rosters at this point. The question is where do they find a home if they do? Some of them are probably trying to figure out, how to pay for tuition this week. So, I mean, there's a lot that, a lot of people really need to understand of what's really happening out there in the college athletics space and how to best protect themselves. And there's a lot of moving pieces.
Well, I mean, Dan, I know we're going to dive in this thing strong. And I know Tremaine got a lot of great questions lined up. And I know we already prepared for this because we got questions for you. I know we're going to be shooting them at you. And I hope the answer come quick and fast. We're going to try to get this thing a nice, strong hour of great energy and great information. But before we start shooting these questions at you, because we're going to have the questions, and I know you got the 2 ears and the 1 mouth to listen, then bring it to us. Indiana, Miami Hurricane, played in that championship game. And because they played in the national championship game, they got a window of 5 days, if I'm correct, to make these decisions on what they're going to do. My question is, because you heard Malachi Tony was thinking about jumping in that portal. Then you hear the rumors of the quarterback, somebody offering him $40 million to stay. All these things out there. It could be internet bull crap, but the 5-day window. My question here is, did the colleges hold a spot just in case for them two teams in that window?
I think the answer is who knows. I mean, I think all of them are really trying to navigate whether or not guys are moving in the portal, and I'll tell you what the cheat code is. First of all, under NCAA rules, you cannot contact a player while he's on a roster, right? The cheat code is they can reach out to representation.
Right. Okay. There it is. So when you hear Dabo Sweeney, so you hear about Dabo Sweeney complaining about one of the players getting a call from another school. So what's that about then? I mean, because you're saying it goes to reputation, but they reaching out to the player. What's the repercussion for all that? I mean, because you're saying they can talk reputation, but they're not.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to, and I've used this analogy in almost everything that I've talked to, is what is the speed limit? It's 70. Unless you enforce the speed limit, you can drive however fast you want. And the NCAA just flat out is not enforcing anything right now. Now, obviously, we're hearing one side of the story from Coach Sweeney, okay?
Right.
And Coach Sweeney will be at the Florida Coaches Coalition meeting here in another month. But, you know, the reality is that if a kid he already went through the portal, he was already enrolled in classes, I think this is a classic sign of tampering. And, you know, what actually transpired, again, I don't get caught up into the drama of things. That's really none of my business.
I know.
I think at the end of the day, I think people have to realize that the college athletics is an unregulated business.
Correct.
And it's business. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you sign with a school for $700,000 and another one comes in at $900,000, that's kind of hard to say no to. I think what the key there was representation involved, was this direct conversation with the player. There's a lot of things that have been talked about that nobody can verify right now. I think until the NCAA gets to a point where they're going to start regulating and investigating these types of situations, it doesn't matter what happened.
Right. Well, two things. One, 700,000, 900,000. The tax bracket, the taxes, whatever case might be. By the time you get 900,000, you end up way less anyway. Because the higher you go, the higher bracket you kind of get in. Is that, if I'm correct here? I mean, so you're leaving it for a little bit more money. We already established and settled someone who really wanted you. Now I got the second person that wants you to give a little bit more money. But all said and done, you're going to pay the taxes, you're going to pay this, you're going to pay that. Is it really worth it?
I think $200,000 differential. And again, I don't know if that's the situation there. Somebody said that it was $1 million. It doesn't matter. But yes, $200,000 is a big differential. I don't care what the taxes are. Now, if it's 700 and 750, depending on where you are, I think, you know, we just saw UCF put out a great marketing campaign. Come to UCF, come to Florida. We don't have state income tax.
Oh, whoa. Interesting. Let me ask you another question about that then. Let me ask you a question. In the NFL, if you play in the NFL, and I know this from talking to Clint Diggs, Carl Joseph, Warren Sapp, all the boys, they told me that every time they go to a different state, they have to pay taxes in their state because they're working in that state. Now let's talk about college. Is that coming to college now?
Right now, no. But yeah, that's what's called a jock tax. So essentially in the professional ranks, they're actually getting game checks, and that game check is based on where they play. See, a lot of people think that, so just use NFL athletes, they're getting paid all year long. They're not. They're paid by each week they play. So
Correct.
if you play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, half your games will not have state or municipal taxes, like you play in Tampa. Okay, but if we play the New York Giants and they play in New Jersey, you're paying not New York, New Jersey state income tax, and do you pay municipal taxes on that particular on that for that particular game? So that's what's called a jock tax. And then you have international games. There could be international consequences. So in professional world, that's what the jock tax is.
Exactly. So basically, the conversation me and you having right now, if there's parents watching this right now, there's two things that's going on for the ones that really don't understand. One parent saying, what are they talking about? Another parent is saying, all they hear is want, 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 want. Another parent is saying, I need representation. When you agree?
I think that education is the key to all this, because the problem with the whole college/NIL world is everything's changing at a very rapid rate. So what I say today may be completely different in 5-6 months. And, again, everybody's looking at it from a representation standpoint, but they're not looking at all elements of what they're going to have to be faced with. And I've heard everything from, oh, well, my uncle's an attorney to, my cousin's a financial advisor to, my aunt's a CPA. That's wonderful. But this is a different world. And you better have all those pieces in. A lot of CPAs that are based here in Florida don't know state income tax, or they don't know the rules in other states. And it's no different with any profession. So I think you better have a good plan going in, because I've talked to a number of GMs across the country, and they're telling me that they've got kids that they haven't paid the income tax. And then I think you have to really look at, when do you pay income tax? A lot of people don't know what the IRS rules are. And a lot of people are paying a lot more money in taxes because they don't understand how to pay taxes.
So, question for you, Dan. I know you've been doing this, but this is a little different journey this year with the 1-year portal and over 7,000-8,000 kids that was in there. How difficult was it for you this year going into negotiations with multiple schools with some of your top players that you're representing? How difficult was it this time around?
It was difficult from a standpoint of the number of calls that I received. I think I was on the phone for 14 hours a day for 3 weeks. Only because it just generated that kind of interest. But realistically, we try to be very strategic with our players. And when I say strategic is understand what their needs are, what their goals are, and try to find the right programs that meet all those characteristics for our players. It doesn't matter if we took 50 calls, if we only identified 5 schools that we felt like were the best fit for.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense there, Dan. And another question I have for you too as well, just learning more about I would say the NIL game. I split the NIL up in two different variables, scenarios, as in NIL is in the school gives you, and then NIL is in marketing. We'll get more into that. So my other question is too, that I've been seeing more that kids need representation. And when I say that is, I'm learning as if a kid that plays on a certain team did not negotiate a good amount of money and he's good, and they find another kid in the portal that he may be better than him, but they gave him more money, does that technically mean that they're going to play the kid they pay him more money, regardless how well he does or don't do for the first couple of games, while the other kid may be better, but he didn't negotiate correct or had the right representation? Is that playing a big effect on a lot of these kids on why a lot of them are jumping ship because they didn't do their contract correctly the first go around?
Not necessarily. I think what we found in this cycle is about 70% of the kids in the portal were told to go into the portal, and it was because of the contract that was negotiated for them. Again, these colleges are coming in now, and they've got a cap, and in a lot of cases, they have to figure out, where are we spending our smart money? And if we paid player X this amount of money, did we get the return on investment? Did he, was he on the field? Was there injuries involved? Was he playing? Was he doing all the things the right way off the field? There was a number of things that came up this year But, again, if they're going to pay you 300,000 and they felt like you did not earn 300,000 for whatever reason, they come back with 150. Your knee jerk is that, I'm not being valued. I'm going to the portal. And really, in a lot of ways, a lot of the schools are telling them, yeah, you should probably go into the portal.
Yeah, well,
But let me go back to answer that question directly, Tremaine. Yes. So in some cases, and I've been in this situation where they say, hey, we love your player, we're going to play him this, but then they go into the portal and pay another player more money to get him to come in through the portal, and they're not as good. Will they potentially play? Yeah, they very well could. Again, it's I tell people all the time, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They only have so many days that they're evaluating particular athletes, and then you've got analysts out here. They're saying, "Oh, we love these 10 players," and they come back to the coaches, and the coaches have to decide which of those 10 players they really like. Were the analysts right? Were they wrong? There's a lot that's involved here, and there's a lot of this that is very unfair, and I think you have to really understand what the value of your player actually is. Not only to the school, and that's very important, but also in the open market, what they're worth. But more importantly, I think we have to, again, understand the objectives of players, because the last thing that I want to see with any kids that we work with is that they're not still working toward the ultimate goal, which is getting a college degree. Because this money, I don't care. You could talk about $1-2 million to an 18, 19, 20-year-old. That ain't a whole lot of money.
So,
well,
you said something very important. Since you represent these kids, tell me, how are you transitioning from, I'm going to use this school example. Georgia Tech is an engineering school. And they told him to go in the portal. And then he goes to Mercer. Mercer don't have an engineering program. What is the strategy behind this, when at the end of the day we want a degree, but when you're transferring to all these different schools, they don't align up with your first degree in mind or second degree in mind? Is now they be like, if you want to play, you're gonna go do sociology or general studies or entrepreneurship. How's those conversations going with the kids?
Well, first of all, that's a conversation that we're having with our players is, what do you want to study? What are your objectives? Because again, I think that has to be put into the equation of, do you really want to play, or are you going to meet your ultimate goal? I'll be honest with you. I don't want to deal with any kids that don't want to get their degree. We won't be working with them. So, we've set our own standards. We want to work with high character athletes that have high ceilings, but at the same time, we want to help them meet every objective that they have set coming out of high school. Because again, we could talk whatever money that we want to. If they're not wisely looking at it from a standpoint of how it can help them, not carry them into their adulthood, they're all going to be right back to where they started, with no degree and no money.
Well, Dan, just to piggyback on two of the questions that you went over, I took my notes right here. So this is a very serious conversation we're having. This is in the film room right here. This is a true, what you're looking at in the film room. Number one, let's go back here with a degree. Talking to athletes, talking to their parents. I still do it, still talk to them every single day. I'm getting them calls. And what I'm hearing is, I need an agent. I don't need an agent. He want to play. He had 500 snaps. He had 700 snaps. Well, he started. This school off this much money, this school off this much money. So what happened in that circuit is, nowhere there anything about money, about the college degree. So what happened is, the student athlete philosophy that been built since football and college started, when they brought from black football to college, all put it all together, that's over. It's no more student athlete. It's all athlete first, student second, because the money has overpowered the student part. So the game of football, they're going to change the name to Moneyball. That's the mindset. So that's what I'm hearing every time, because I know a kid right now that was at a small black college, HBCU, and he had 2 years eligibility. He was studying business. He was in business. Then he had an offer to a MAC conference. He picked up FIU. He picked up FAU. It kept on picking. I said, well, let's just take this school here. He got a great business program. He said, yes, I'm going there. He went on a visit. The next day, he get a call from a school up north. I'm going to say the school that's like an Iowa school, Iowa State, Iowa, University of Iowa. They called him. I said, here come UConn, who got a great education program. So now I said, well, just go to UConn because they got a program that fit what you're doing. He said, yes, coach, but they only offer me $65K. I said, well, your mom and dad is do okay, right? Yeah. I said, well, just take that and get a good degree. You get a little money, you make the money later. He said, no, coach, I'm going to go to Iowa State, Iowa, because they're going to give me $150K. Interesting. So that part about being a student athlete is out the window when all is said and done. It's all about athlete, student. And I learned that from the experience I'm having with athlete that's calling a kid. And now, and one more thing, and the right notes if you want to tell them, one more thing. A kid that's an introvert, or a kid that's quiet, a kid that's a hermit, he's a 4.0 student. He's very smart, very intelligent. This kid is quiet. He's a mouse. But this kid here should go to another academic school. He should go to a school that he fit. He want to be an engineer, like Jermaine was saying. He had a 4.0 GPA. He's smart. But
Yeah.
let me go to an SEC school. They're gonna offer me more money that nobody want to ever. You can't even get a job in that state because the poorest state in the United States of America, outside the third world country, is a poor school, poor state. Don't have the degree, but I'm gonna go there because they found a way to give me a little more money and say I'm gonna play. So that's out the question about student athlete. I'm sorry. So how do we fix that, or is it fixable?
Again, going back to how we really approach certain players. Again, I want to make sure that we're hitting the key objectives. What is it you want to study? And a lot of kids, they don't know what they want to study coming out of high school. They have an idea, and I've even taught my kids, college isn't just about what you want to do. It's also finding out what you don't want to do. And, that's the experience of college. It's such a social experiment for young people to really identify who they are. But if you are that young person that says, I want to get a specific degree, then that's got to be your objective. If you are a Duke, let's use Duke University. Duke University, if you're a Duke guy and we have a player at Duke, and guess what his objective is? He wants a Duke degree. So how much negotiation is there other than what they want to offer him at a particular time? And where is his key position on that field? Like, there's things that can be done, but at the end of the day, are we meeting the player's objective who wants the Duke degree? The answer
What
is
percentage
yes.
is that? What percentage is that want a degree, and what percent that want that money? Right, small percentage. And all said and done.
Listen, Lo, I've actually, first of all, I've had conversations with parents where the first conversation when we sit down is, can you get them an NIL deal? And I'm like, no.
So before you even
there's nothing about you brandable.
Go ahead.
Because again, they're quiet. They don't want to talk. They're posting huddle highlights on social media. What company is going to make you a spokesperson?
So before you jump in at the Dan, got a question before we go into that, because that makes a lot of sense what you just said. People ask me that question too. So my question is, so people can understand, when a kid is getting offered $100,000, break that down for them. What does that look like? You're representing me. So blah, blah school says, Tremaine, we're going to give you $100,000 contract. Break that down money-wise. How much money I'm getting? Am I getting it all up front? Is it broken up in 4 years, 3 years, 2 years? What does that $100,000 look like?
Good question, Tremaine.
A great question, because I've literally signed guys after the fact because they finally realized they needed representation, and we found out that the number they were given was paid out over 16 to 18 months.
Dang.
Wow.
Really? So basically that $100,000 that they see is basically broken up in 16, 18 months. And some of them I have been hearing is basically broke up in 1 year. So $100,000 divided by 12.
Typically, but again, of that $100,000, how much is your money?
Well, it's 30%
right.
tax. Correct. Well,
is it?
I don't know. You tell me. Well, I don't want to.
First of all, what's your agent charging? Okay, that's coming out.
Okay, got you. You talking about all them other? I was just talking just raw numbers. Okay, then yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, and then you've got to take a look at how you're going to structure the money. So, what taxes do you pay?
Let me ask you a question, Dan. Another question. This is a good one. If I leave before the year is over, do I still get that money?
It depends on the
Depends on
contract,
how it depends on how the contract's structured.
Okay.
So,
So basically,
go ahead. So
no,
the single
I was gonna
mother.
say that. I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say the same thing too. So you buy a mama house, well, and you pay a mortgage on it, and they cut you the first half. You're supposed to get 500,000. Your contract say, well, you only get $100,000 if we give you the boot. Golly, that's horrible. These kids,
Yeah.
these kids ain't reading. They just
My good friend, and I'm gonna call him out, my boy from Apopka, James McKnight. I never forget. I was talking to him. I said, he just got signed, right? He was playing, and he was like, I said, man, he was the first year and second year, like, man, he making money on TV, catching touchdown. And he was like, I said, man, I know you're gonna get your mom a new house and get you a new house. You'll do all this. He said, what? I said, no. I said, why not? He said, listen, it ain't like you think you get that money now. I got to get a second contract before I start doing all the extra stuff. So when you see them NFL guys, you wonder why a lot of them went broke. Because that story broke because they didn't understand that you need to wait till your second contract before you start doing all this craziness with this money or start buying this and buying that. You got to wait. And I never forget when Brett Tesser, the agent, when he had my son Lowe, Embry People, Chris McDuffie, all us here, he was a NFL agent. He sent me a breakdown of what 500,000 looks like. And when I looked at that, and at the end he showed me what they get for the year, I said, "Well, dang, I make more than them. I ain't go to NFL." That's how bad it was. It was so bad that he said your family should only get $300 a month. Yeah.
Again, I think that's where proper planning goes into place. So that's what we do. That's what I do for a living. Is I'm a financial planner. So I write business plans for every one of our athletes. They know exactly what their taxation is going to look like. They know exactly how to set up a retirement account. They know exactly how to do all these things. They know how to manage money. They know how to do it. This is what I teach them. So at the college level, all they're telling them is you need to save 30% of your money. Okay. Well, 30% may not be enough depending on how much money they're making. And then are they filing? Are they getting proper tax advice? We're actually working with a national CPA that works only with professional athletes. And like you mentioned, jock tax. This is something they do on a regular basis because the NFL teams estimate those taxes. They're not exact.
Wow.
But the other big difference is the NFL, because I've heard it all, right? Oh, the NFL does this. This isn't the NFL. There is no collective bargaining agreement. There is no singular contract used by all 32 teams. Each university is writing their own contract. We have some that are 4 pages long. We have some that are 19 pages long. And then you have situations right now. Here's the bottom line. Every college athlete, here's a little secret for you guys. You're all self-employed business owners. That's what a 1099 means. And you better handle it like a business.
Or you'd be like Wesley Snipes.
In jail for not paying taxes.
Everybody's waiting to see what the IRS. I got news for you. We have friends in the IRS that have already told us they're coming after them now. It's coming.
That's
and
sad.
There's so much that is going on. And I feel bad because college athletics has had 3 years to figure out what the NFL took 3 decades. And before I even got into this, I went to all of our friends who played in the NFL and I asked them the problems that they faced. The guys like James McKnight, the guys like Aaron Jones. And I took a lot of notes. And then I started structuring things of this is how the influencer council is going to act accordingly with their athletes. And this is how we're going to help prepare them for what this experience is. Because that's why when you sit down and you help them understand the power in which they're given, our guys accept that challenge. Our guys have money at the end of the year. Our guys have done all the right things. When you help them understand how to buy a car, how to pay that off, that they have no credit. And in a lot of cases, you have families that aren't making as much as their kids are in college. How do you make that an opportunity that's going to last? Because what I tell guys all the time is this. You don't go to the NFL and you get a degree in communications. What do you think your starting salary is? It damn sure ain't 400, 500,000 a year.
It ain't even 100.
It's between 40 and 70,000, depending on your degree.
100% correct. My degree
And
is
you're married.
communication.
And now you got 3 kids. You're trying to teach the game of football. All this stuff adds up, man. You have opportunities to get ahead in such a big way. And that's just the financial taxation side. And we've talked about the legal stuff, the legal complexities in these contracts. Listen, to go up to Ohio State with John Walker and sit down and see how they're doing things really was an eye-opener, because their compensation package, they're building a championship team. And I got news for you. They're not doing it with $15 million.
They do real estate. Are they still doing real estate?
You know, this is a funny thing, is everybody wants to talk real estate with young people when they don't even know how to manage money. How are you going to manage a rental property?
No, I thought they were doing. No, I thought Ohio State was doing, from I think a while ago. They had a big, I would say big bank. They had a lot of real estate investments that they pour into that they can divvy back out to the athletes. I'll talk about that, like a rev source or whatnot.
Well, no, they encourage them to take a look at real estate. And I encourage guys that are gaining a net worth, if you will, of utilizing real estate as an investment, but it's a long-term investment. You know, it's not something you're going to turn around. You know, I know you need to buy. I saw a reel on social media the other day. Oh, you college guys need to buy real estate in your college town. And I'm like, you're not taking into consideration who's running that, who's going to be damaging it, who's going to manage it, who's going to collect rent, when college athletes don't have time for this.
Well, Dan, let me jump in. Of course, I do real estate, and I got a management company. I do it myself, and Tremaine is in the real estate too. We talked about that. And the problem is going to come with the real estate, not so much the management. You really can get someone to manage it and do everything, trust them, and pay them 10% of the rental, and you have to worry about nothing. They do the maintenance. Me and Roger Beckett talk about this all the time. And Mark Allen, my guy, Trent Allen, his dad, that we talk about the real estate. Now, here's the problem with the real estate, not so much of people managing it. The problem is the school gave me $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. My check is $10,000, $20,000, $12,000. Some guys, I know for a fact. Now you're getting that money. The problem comes to real estate when all is said and done, the school is over. They don't want the $500 profit a month. That's the problem. They don't want to get the check from the management company after they pay the mortgage. But they're not going to buy these places cash, some of them. So after they pay the mortgage, after they pay the taxes, after they pay the HOA, after they pay the agent, the maintenance, the management company, then they get their profit. Their profit, I got $200. They might be $250, $300, $400. That's nothing to them. They don't want that money, and that's why they don't want to do the real estate. They're not getting educated, like you said. It's a long term. You have it forever. It's you got to keep it. It's an investment for a while. They don't want that money. They're like drug dealers. They want fast money. Barbers want fast money. Like timeshare, they want fast money. And they always said, I'm always going to get this money. It ain't going to happen to me. And that's the biggest problem we're going on with the kids now.
Then don't do it. Then don't do it. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, this is not a young person issue. This is a general population issue. You know, everybody wants a quick fix. Fix.
They're the instant money right now. Yes.
But my point is, Lo, is there's misinformation. As I like to say, a half truth is a lie, right? I know for a fact that there is a major university that actually had a commercial real estate company come in and talk to the kids. And I don't feel like that's appropriate.
No, it's not. Especially being a realtor.
Well, I know that's a great segment right there. I want to kind of go back to one.
Go ahead.
I got one. This is my last one here. So we're talking about the coaches telling the kids, go in the portal. You can't play here. and the kid can be better than the kids. So I talked to one school, Power Four, had two cornerbacks that was getting $250,000 a piece. The other cornerback was getting 60. At the end of the exit meeting, he go to the coach and say, "Coach, when I got in, I had more PBUs and an interception than these two guys, but they played more snaps than me. Why didn't you play me more?" And we were struggling. He said, "I was not allowed to play you more because they get paid more. So the more you get paid, you're gonna play whether the guy behind you is better or not."
You said
Is
I mentioned
that
earlier.
because
Yeah.
right now? Is that because that guy that's playing a lot, and then they know he became a household name or he played that name? Is it because they're selling more shirts or more jerseys because he in there more, or they, I know they paid him more money, or like real? I mean, what is going on? Is it, if I'm gonna give you all this money, it got to get a return on their investment. The return on the investment, yes, we know it is to win. But at the same time, everybody not going to win. So what else is a return on investment for a company or whoever that's giving this money? Where's the other money? How are these boosters or how they making money? That's the question people want to know too. Because they don't win,
Well,
they lose, right?
first of all,
That's good. That's good.
you just asked a question that ended up being like 6 or 7 questions.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I think it comes down to, again, I think we've addressed the fact that the portal, they're bringing in guys and paying more for a particular player to come in, whether they're better than what they have on the roster at all. That is true. That does happen in some cases. Again, I think that, a lot of that has to do with, the way I like to address it with our players and what the general managers at the schools is understand the value of your player. You've had a lot of agents that have gone in and negotiated much higher amounts than what that player's fair value is. And that puts a target on their back. That's the first guy they're going to come in and say, yeah, you didn't earn that money. I think we need to move into another direction. Also is the fact that we want to make sure that the players are getting educated on what this thing looks like. I sat down with a couple of players before they went off to college here. I took them to dinner and we sat down and talked about how they need to carry themselves when they get on campus, because it's a different world now and everybody's watching, and you will be judged for how you act off the field. And, you need to be very careful because, again, this is professional sports. And, it was bad before, but now there's money involved and everything else. I think that, the more players can be prepared for what they're going into. I talked to a few of those players this past week. They've been on campus for 2 or 3 weeks. They're like, "Coach, you're right, man. It's different up here." And I'm like, "I told you it was going to be different." Now you have to acclimate to that. You have to have that mindset of, when you're in school, you're only thinking about school. When you get into that facility, nothing else matters. Like, you have to be locked in on what you're there to do. Because it is a business.
It's a business. It's a business, but we said, mindset. They got to have a strong mindset. They got to be committed. They got to sacrifice everything, and they got to have the passion still for the game. Go ahead, Tremaine.
So now I got some questions, but I'm going to dive into something different because I know Coach Lowe got a call at 8. So let's talk about this real quick, because this is the big thing that I think a lot of people don't really understand about NIL. To me, there's two parts of NIL. You have the school, which is a collective or whatnot, to get your money doing contracts. But to me, I think people miss the big picture. The big picture, when they all talked about, was NIL, name, image, and likeness, meaning as branding purposes, marketing, doing products. A big name, we could talk about a couple of them. Bryce Young, Travis Hunter, Shador, all these names, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark.
Livy
These
Dunn,
athletes,
the 1%.
Yeah, these athletes, yes, and what I mean, and them are the big names I just mentioned, but the opportunity to make money besides the school and make money that would not stop you when you leave that school. How is that looking right now? Because nobody's really talking about that, or I don't see a lot of. I would see agencies or agents guiding kids in a direction to get money from. I'm just gonna say these names, big names like Nike, Adidas, McDonald's, Walmart, Wendy's, Dunkin' Donuts, or Under Armour, stuff like that. Where is that conversation gonna come in, or where are we gonna start seeing them mid-tier athletes start getting deals like that to make money, because where everybody's talking about contract basically from a school, which is cool, but if you get something with Nike, that could be long term. And an example is Ashton Hall, the guy, the big old muscle guy that's running beside a car. You know what I'm talking about? He played running back at HBU school. He built his own brand. He don't even play football no more. But guess what? He's making millions of dollars because he has a brand that he created from college football that's followed him after playing. And I don't see that's being talked about a lot more, or introducing kids into a new element to make money on top of the money that they're making from the school. Talk to me about that, Dan.
I think part of it, to be honest with you guys, is that now the way they're structuring deals, a lot of that money is part of their compensation package already. So again, let's say that you got a player making 600,000. They may actually structure his deal where 400's coming through rev share, but they're going to have 200,000 come through a collective or an outside entity, or they'll have deals round up. Now that money has to go through NIL Go, and that goes through the clearinghouse. And what the clearinghouse, this is where it ties in, Tremaine. What they're doing is they're looking at whether or not it is fair value for that player. So they're looking at their social media following. They're seeing to find out whether or not they're engaging, because those contracts are not guaranteed. If it doesn't go through NIL Go, then you don't get paid unless you have proper representation to ensure that the university does pay them if it does not go through that process.
So, question: you just told me something that's very interesting. So, I get $500,000, and there was two parts that you just broke up into that $500,000. So, 100,000 of it may be guaranteed. The other 400,000 may be through whatever you said, through rev share, and I guess they want to look at how valuable am I to the market to, I guess, make up the other 400,000 that's written in the contract. Am I saying that correctly?
Well, the majority of it, if not half, or the majority of it's going to come through rev share, which is directly from the school. But if it is structured where there's additional revenue that is true NIL, it still has to go through NIL Go. And there's no guarantee of when or if that payment will come through.
And that is listed on the contract. So a kid's going around and saying I give him $1 million, and technically it's not even like that because how the contract is structured. Okay, that makes a lot of sense right there. And
so better yet, everybody's been talking about a Miami quarterback that's going to get $8 million next year. So if rev share for this season, and it's getting ready to shift, was 20.5 million, that means football is getting roughly 15. So you're going to tell me you're going to give a quarterback 8 of that 15 million?
No. They got to make the difference up. And I'm glad you mentioned that too as well, because when you're talking about 20 million, let's break that down. I'm going to say even number 20 million. Is that 20 million for football, or is that 20 million for the whole university to utilize?
So the whole athletic department.
So for instance, you go to North Carolina Tar Heels. They're good in football, they're good in basketball, and they get top players in both. How difficult is that now for a kid that wants to go to school there? And now they're separating that compared to going to, let me just say Auburn. Auburn is only good in football, and they probably use the majority of that money because they're going to get more lower tier kids in all the other sports and utilize that money. Are people, are agents like yourself or whatnot looking at stuff like that?
Absolutely. Again, everything comes down to numbers are great. They all sound great, but till things are on the paper. And here's the other thing. What if that paper says that we own your NIL rights and you can't get an outside NIL deal if you are marketable?
That's horrible.
Man, I tell you, that's a lot of information that's going on right now in the Film Room Sports Club. We are giving it to them the way they need to hear it and not backing down from it. These are the questions that they want to know. They want the answer for them. And now we give them the answer. Question what they do with their answer, what they do with this information that they're getting tonight, especially one that got the big time players that come in the past. You see, I have another question, Tremaine. What you got?
This talking to you, Dan, and people that should really tune in to what we're doing and what we're talking about, because this is misinformation that people are not looking at, especially in high school and even youth, is looking at the impact of transfer portal money. the contracts, having somebody that you trust represent you. How big of a deal is it now from a middle school kid that's transitioned to high school and looking at these different schools and seeing that in a couple of years this is going to change? We know this is not going to stay right now. I know they're going to figure it out. What are you saying to these high school kids, these parents now? I'm not going to say the kids, because I know you're talking really to the parents. What are you saying to them right now?
I think it starts with recruiting, right? Is be realistic with recruiting, because, every parent and every kid coming out of youth right now, they're the next P4 All-Star. The problem with that is, how long have we been in this space and we've seen 4-star and 5-star athletes fall apart when they get to college? How many guys have we seen that were 3-star end up being amazing players? Trust your process. Trust the process. And now, even in this game, let me ask you guys, who's the quarterback for Ole Miss this year?
I don't know. He just transferred.
Trinidad Chambliss, who was a Division II national champion, right?
Oh yeah.
What about the kids that they actually signed out of high school that have been waiting their turn to play, and they bring that guy into the portal?
Interesting.
So if I'm a quarterback, why would I sign P4 out of high school? Because what they're looking for is, they want that quarterback, they don't care what level, that has 20 games under their belt. You're not going to get that sitting on the bench.
Experience.
It's called a PFF score, and this is every position.
Yeah.
What did you do on the field? And if you're not on the field, you don't have that score.
And then how many times you was on the field dictates how much money you get. Interesting. I found that out.
So it all comes back to trust the process. Because the other big change, you've been hearing about, all these high school kids are getting this big bag of money before they get to campus. It's done.
Now, another thing too, I want parents to look at. All of us know, I'm not going to name no names. A couple of years ago, we had a lot of 4- and 5-star kids that went to these big schools. They all went into the portal. Like this portal right here that just happened. All the kids that had all these 3-star, 4-star, 5-stars, all transferring from the school they went to. They didn't get no PT, no playing time. And the reason I'm saying this is from parents that's watching this. Stop having your eye on the big prize. Take away the big prize. You have D2 school. You got kids that's going from D2 to D1 that's making more money than a kid that was a 5-star. You having kids that's going to JUCO, that's making money in JUCO, and then transferring to a Power 4 school that's making more money than a 4 or 5-star.
And the 4 or 5-star are now
going down.
They're going down. I mean, I can, like you said, I know we don't want to call a name because that's not what the show is about. But I could name 5 right now that's at Matt Conference school that was at Power 4s.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm a player, I'd rather move up than move down.
Exactly. Correct. But some of them have to, because some circumstances. Some of them have to now, because I know for a fact, I had a kid that went to school, Purdue. I'm gonna say Purdue, and he definitely was that guy. But he got hurt, got injured, so he had no choice. I understand them circumstance. Or did I went to the school? It was a little bigger than I thought I was. I couldn't get in there. And different coaches change it. Different coaches come in. They bring different guys in. Okay, I got to make a change. But you know what? The great thing about it, you can go down. You always can come back up if you got a couple more years. That's the irony of Moneyball over football.
Okay, Dan, another question here, because Coach just said something I want you to talk about too, since you represent the kids. Well, there's a lot of coaching moving, a lot of coaches moving like kids. How is that affecting the kids that's making the decision to go there for the coach now? And a lot of them are either got to transfer because when they get there, that coaching staff don't like them, and it's happening real fast. Because Nick Saban talked about they need to change everything, so coaches stop leaving during the season or during the bowl games and change it to they leave after the season. How is this affecting the process with the kids now?
Well, I think you bring up a good point, because I don't think there's a singular change that needs to be made. I think this whole thing needs to be revamped, including bowl season. Bowl season used to be an exciting time for college athletes. Okay. I actually told somebody, I was talking to a national writer last week, And he asked me, he goes, Dan, what, in your opinion, what would you do? And I said, there's a number of things I would do. Number one, college coaches should not have more than 4 years guaranteed on their contract. Number two is they need to move the bowl games to week 0, because there is no college football fan out there that isn't more excited than before the season. But it doesn't count. Like it's got to be a week 0 game. It does not count during the season. I think that now you got the fan base, they'll want to travel. They'll want to go see these matchups. And it also allows them to shift to the playoffs right at the end of the season, which means now the season is over on New Year's Day. Now you have the portal. Now you have movement. You have different things that can happen. In my opinion, it's the easy solution. The problem is nobody ever looks at an easy solution. They want to make things difficult. And the NCAA, I've said this before, the NCAA's arrogance got them here, and it's their arrogance that thinks it's going to get them out of it. They do not look at things objectively. The other thing, too, is I think the SEC and the Big Ten, Lou, by the way, is controlling pretty much the majority of college revenue right now. I think they need to take a stand and make some changes done because, again, you don't have regulation. There's no collective bargaining agreement. Everybody out there is an expert. There has to be some structure that really simplifies, but it's not one versus another. It has to be done across the board. I'm all for them holding taxes for athletes. Yes. I'm all for it.
Yes.
But they're not going to do it because they're not employees. But yet they want to put in contracts. You had Coach Prime put out there, we're going to start finding players. In theory, it sounds wonderful. But the reality is, how do you find somebody who's a 1099 contracted employee?
Right, you can't do it. The 1099, the contracted employee, you can't find them. It's almost like in my business or the timeshare industry. Everybody, all the licensed real estate agents are 1099. So when they come in, they say, well, we're going to suspend you. We're going to put you on 3 weeks. We're going to take out of your commission. And then they got sued. Sued. So what they did was a big old lawsuit. So what they did, then it was so bad where now, if I'm in timeshare and I'm in real estate, they had to pay them, get them what they call a draw. Had to give them a draw. But then because it's 1099, when you get your commission check, they take their money out that they gave them out of the commission check. So it's crazy that the Prime wanted somebody almost $400 if you wear $400 or something like that if you wear a jersey from another school because you done been to 5 of them. 1,500 you come late. It's not NFL like that there. This ain't way they put in a contract like that. But then, Dan, I heard they trying to put in the contract that if you're late, we take this much money. If you wear this, they put it in their contract. So how that work? That's what I heard too now.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you were going back to the payments, and a lot of the contracts we've seen, they withheld the last payment until after the portal. Now, our players, we had that moving. We told them, no, that's not going to work. You shift it into the current year. And they're like, well, some people like that because they get to save on taxes. I go, no, we're going to save on them earning that money in this year.
So
you're not withholding it to see if they go on the portal.
Right.
Your job is to make sure they don't go in the portal. My job is to make sure that both parties are acting in coordinates and fairly. And, again, it's solid business. And that's why I really like the way that we built things because, we've got 14 football players on our roster right now, 5 female athletes. We know our kids. And you've got agents out there signing 100 kids, and they don't know them. They don't know who they are. It's the old sales rule. It's the old sales rule, right? 80% of the revenues coming from 20% of my workers.
Yeah, it is.
I like the low number. And before we get off, I know Coach Lowe got to go. This right here, Coach Lowe and Dan, how big of an impact it was for the world to see Indiana win the championship. They had 2 good years, a school we never thought about ever winning in life, and how impacted they was from the transfer portal and kids going there and they maximizing. Should this be an eye-opener for every athlete and every parent to see that it doesn't matter what school you go to, and it's all about, I guess, the coaching staff or who they bring in and putting get well-rounded kids to work together as a team, what Indiana did? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm going to answer this one because at least let me go first here.
Go ahead.
I've never cut off the Great Low Wood, trust me. But
here we go.
Donuts.
I spoke in an event about a month ago, and all these college football fans, and I said, I'm tired of hearing how college football's ruined. I'm tired of hearing how NIL's horrible. I'm tired of hearing about the transfer portal, because in no world does Indiana win the Big Ten and the national championship. In no world. Absolutely no world. There is no world that Vanderbilt becomes a player in the SEC. Now, I got news for you. Neither one of those teams developed talent.
Neither one.
No,
Not a
said
damn
earlier,
one.
portal.
They bought their rosters, and that is the game. And this is why it's so important for parents to understand. This is not about your kid. It's about his process. It has to be a path that's conducive to what he wants to be. Because every one of these coaches are under the gun. These fan bases are out of their mind. They want you fired if you don't bring it home, and they have to win. They don't have time to develop you.
Yeah, Moneyball. You go back to the footballs are down the rabbit hole. It's Moneyball. It's all about the money. You got to win. What have you done for me lately?
I've heard it all. We don't need representation. We don't need this. We don't need this. And I'm like, okay. Best of luck.
Let me break down. I'm going to do a rundown right here. Great breakdown on that. But I got and Dan, you answer that question. I only have to piggyback off that. But I do want to do a rundown of what the NIL, what the money have done, what the portal have done, what the parents that don't understand NIL, branding, training the kids, put them in the right situation, put them in the right school, the right network. They don't understand it. They're looking at the image instead of looking at what still need to be about authentic. And I'm going to show you a scenario that comes out when the outcome of going into the portal, or the outcome of thinking about going into the portal, or getting stuck in the portal, or making the right decision or the wrong decision, what school to go to. Here's what a lot of things has happened. Number one, online sports. Right? And the thing about this is online sports gambling. Kids getting so much money they never had, they don't know what to do with it. So what they're doing now is what is hurting, they started doing online sports gambling. They give them the right to gamble online. It's destroying the youth, destroying the kids. The money's going away. So that money they're spending gambling online, that's the taxes, and that's one thing they're getting in trouble. That's one bad thing that's going on with the portal. And with this NIL. Number two, now schools like Clemson and other big schools are so trying to be so loyal and not really getting NIL. They're trying to do it the right way, but they're offering walk-ons. They're offering kids to walk on, but they have to be a student at the school. They're saying them a walk-on, but they're doing walk-ons now. But you got to be a student at the school, all the rules, all the class. You got to qualify to be a walk-on.
You got to have the SAT scores. You got to have the ACT scores.
Exactly. Now, number three. Indiana had players on the team that had children. Some schools got players on the team that's married. Some of them have wives, families. Why? Because they're 27, 28 years old. They've been 8, 9, 10 years. A grown man with a wife and children is now playing with 18, 19-year-old kids who ain't do nothing but run around like a wild boar. They're so smart, it's intelligent. These guys, grown, staying in college, that's married, they're getting divorces now because they're creating a problem. They're using NIL money to pay their alimony. NIL money to pay their child support. NIL money to support the family. They doing all that with NIL money. Not financial aid money, NIL money. That is some of the craziest thing ever when all said and done. I got one here too. This is a good one here. The portal itself, it need to change in some kind of way, because what happened is they give me the money. I recommend this. This is my recommendation. Somehow that money got to be put up. I will put a stipulation on it. Get your college degree, you get your money. You get a certain part of your money.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. They can't do it. Or if you go in the league early, you got to wait till you're 26 to get the money. I came up with that from a trust fund. In my trust fund, if my kid get a degree, no problem. Something happen, they good to go. They get everything. Something happen to me. If not, they got to wait till they 28 years old before they get any money.
But here's the thing, Lo. This makes sense if the NCAA would have done this before the genie got out of the bottle. If they would have done this years ago, then I could see the logic behind this. But that ain't happening, my man. There is no logic anymore. There's too many variables in the wind. You know, the old saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. This game's out of control. Really, but don't blame the kids. Don't blame one sector. Everything is misstrued right now. And we have to play within the guidelines of what are in front of us. But the reality is there is no simple process anymore. This isn't about signing with a school with the intent of getting a degree anymore. You got kids going to the portal every year. There's no way they get a degree.
No, so not
because they're misled for obvious reasons. Hell, 2 years ago, we heard that parents were telling you need to go to the portal because you're worth more than that. Well, that wasn't the right advice. Because once you're in the portal, you have no idea if you're coming out of it. It's the Dr. Pepper commercial. You don't know if you're coming out. If you have to go in the portal, there has to be a purpose. And it isn't because I didn't get paid. It was because I was valued more somewhere else for what I bring to the table.
Yeah. Outside of our forcing them. Now, if you force in the portal, which is some people are forced, and why are they forcing you? Because I don't see them force you in the portal and you played 400, 200 snaps. You got forced in the portal. One, your grades was bad. Two, you got caught smoking too many times. 3 times you're out. And that's a way to get you out. 3, you got hurt. You can't benefit. You can't help us because you got injured. Let me get you out of here. So there's a reason why coaches put guys in the portal. Or you didn't produce good enough for them guys. Or you didn't play at all. If you didn't play, you didn't get in. They force you in the portal.
When you play, you are creating a value. Now, the question is somebody advocating for you to make sure that value is fair value?
Now that's where you come to play.
But you got to know what fair value is. Now, I will say this. We had 4 of our players go in the portal, and there was a reason for them to go in the portal. All 4 of those players went to a school and did not take the highest number.
Interesting.
Was that because
character?
That interesting.
Character.
Objectives.
Integrity. Let me ask you this. So now let's go back to as we get ready to start winding down. I got 1,200, 1,100, 800, 900 in the portal. The portal is, they're still active. Guys still can go places if there's room somewhere or if there's opportunity somewhere on any level. Yeah. The crazy part about it is, if I don't get Power 4, I don't get Mid Major, I don't get D1, I don't get D1 AA, I'm at D2. I got a guy that got 4.0 GPA, great accolade. They gave him all the money he can get, and he still had to pay $4,000. If I go D3, this guy had all the accolade, all the academic, he still had to pay $8,000. When it went to NIA, whoa, ain't no money. They got a little money, academic, state fund, financial aid in Florida. They took his financial aid. And his parents paying $10,000. So all them guys in that portal now have to go this way down lower levels. And the reason why people are asking, like, why they still in the portal? Because they cannot afford that $600 a month, that's $800 a month, or that $1,000 a month. Even if the mom go get a loan at a lower interest rate, they still got to pay a certain fee. I know.
Then Lo, at the end of the day, man, then quit.
or do now. Okay,
I mean, listen, the whole problem with
you
this
on the
thing,
quit?
man, is guys
Look,
who are playing
What
Division
the
Two
heck?
and Division Three and NIA, they're playing because they still love the game and want to play, and they want to see where they can go with it.
but
I
wait,
literally consulted a kid last year, and his only option was Division Two. You know what I told him?
what?
Give it 1 year and reevaluate. If you don't
But,
see the value
what
paying
they
your
can't afford,
20%,
what they can't pay that $800 bill a month. They took their financial aid. They got good acting. Oh, wait a minute. Back that thing up. Rewind the road, that Range Rover. Back that
What
Range
is
Rover up
wrong with
now.
this man?
Watch this right here, Dan. Watch this right here, Dan. I go to Division 2. They take my financial aid. Oh my gosh, at the Power 4 school, I was a 2.0, the minimum requirements to survive at a college. So they're going to take my academic, my transcript at 2.0. They take my financial aid. They can't give me no money like that. They can't give me the academic money. So now I got to
Quit.
go call mama and daddy and say, can you get a loan? They check mom and daddy Social Security. Their credit is 600. Okay, we'll give you 2,000. I still owe more money. The interest rate is high. That kid in trouble. That's what people fail to realize. Before you go in that portal, you need to check what is his GPA if he don't go to a school that he just transfer right over. Even for 4 to 4 or D1 mid-major, where it don't matter when it comes to GPA. They got full scholarship. You better check that first. Then check, can you afford some money, mama and daddy? Because you're gonna need it. So if they can't do that, now the kid's stuck. Now they put the kid on the street or back home with the mama. Oh, we're gonna go to a community school for a little bit and try to go
look,
back. That's over. Come on, Dan.
look, you do realize football coaches are looking for football players. All that other stuff has to work itself out, and the
Dan,
schools are going to try to set these things up. But I learned a whole long time ago you can't save the entire world, man.
But you know who
Like,
looking for a few good players? You know who looking for a few good
hush.
players?
I already know you're gonna say. You're gonna say like the military or something like that.
Hey, Dan, you told them to quit. I tell them don't quit. I tell them go to the military. They
I
travel,
told you.
free food, free
oh,
clothes, free travel, get a job, get money. You can still get rough in the mud and under gates and stuff.
they
Go
they
ahead.
got yeah,
They
but
got love.
understand you're talking about two different things here, Lo. All I'm saying is, yeah, you can play on the intramural team with the Marines.
Let's go. And they'll pay you. They'll pay you. You want money?
Coach,
Listen,
Military.
you're talking about apples and oranges now, though. I mean, at the end of the day, again, this is about young people that have dreams and aspirations. You've got to follow them as long as you can. But
Yeah.
to sit here and look at it, oh, I can't pay 4
But
years.
hey,
You don't have to.
who's gonna pay that 1 year? That dream is
look,
good, but dream costs money to follow the dream. When you go from Power 4 to D2, D3, NIL, JUCO, the
But
dream
I'm not talking about that.
money.
I'm talking about kids coming out of high school that still want to continue to play.
Well, that's
Okay,
okay.
those
Okay,
opportunities
yeah,
are
yeah,
not as fruitful anymore. Okay,
that's fine.
so now they have to go play D2. Right now, we're in this boat. We got signing day next week. How many of these guys who have not found a home are going to end up having to find a home at D2? And I can't even say D2 anymore. If you haven't walked into a locker room at D2 now, there's some dudes on that team.
Oh yeah.
well, I'll say
Oh
Okay,
this.
yeah.
make no mistake. If you think D2 is easy, good luck with that.
Trust
Well,
me.
But there are still things that have to be on that checklist for you to play that. There are guys all over the place because they want to play ball.
well, I'll
Advice.
say
Let's
this.
close. Go ahead.
Well,
Advice. Go ahead. Give me the advice. Give him some advice, Jermaine.
well, I'm gonna say this last thing before we end out. He said something very important. By me being a teacher and I deal with a lot of high school athletes, the kids before the portal talk to coaches. When the portal happened, they ain't talk to no coach. Now the portal's over with. Now the schools they talk to don't want them anymore. Now they got to find new places to sign next week, as Dan just mentioned. The key thing with all this is to have somebody in your corner that can help you with the mindset that is not the end of the world because you're not talking to that coach. Find somebody that can guide you. Find you people that you trust in your corner. Have a good coach. Figure out the lane that's going to work for you. Power 4 doesn't matter. HBCU doesn't matter, D2. I'm not gonna really say D3 because you gotta really spend money. But them different avenues there, or JUCO, them avenues, you can still be successful and you can still go to the league. Or if you have a different kind of mindset, you guys, if you're looking at the money and you want to be smart, if you're able to utilize that money, save that money, do things correctly, not go to the league and use that as a leg up after you graduate, that's still a great opportunity for you if you take that road. You can go to the league or you can make good money while you're in college. If you have the mindset, have right people to guide you, you can still be successful. But you can't just go jump to school to school to school, make this money and you're broke every single year. That's not the key that a lot of kids are doing right now. I have videographers right now that I just met with that's been traveling with these kids, make all this money. You know, he told me they ain't got no money. I said, what they doing with all this money? This is ridiculous. So I say all this, you guys. I hope you guys paid attention and watched this because there's a lot of insight here. And Dan did a fantastic job telling you why it's so important to have representation. It is not all about making $1 million or $500,000. It's about having that contract, looking over it, dotting the T's, and figuring out, is this the best lane for you? Is this the best school for you? And he said a lot of key things earlier, you guys. What do you want to go to school first for? Does that school align with the morals or your family or anything like that too as well? Because at the end of the day, you can go to school to get $500,000 and it doesn't fit you. And guess what? That money is gone. So at the end of the day, you guys, don't look at the money so much. Look at the opportunity that you can make and the long road at the end of the day. Coach Lowe's passionate about the NIA and all that stuff because he has to come out of pocket. So he understands, and that's why he preached that a lot, because as a parent, you don't really want to come out of pocket, really, if you don't have to. You know, he's a father that makes money that can do that. A lot of parents are not in that situation. A lot of parents can't afford. A lot of parents can't afford $100 or $200. Coach Lowe will put himself in a position to take care of his kid, and he talks about NIL because it does cost money. It ain't no. When I say money, it costs money. So you got to think about these things where kids has the aspiration to go to the next level. Be realistic with him. He's 4'4" and he plays quarterback. He's not going nowhere. He's 5'5" and he plays running back and he doesn't run in the 10s, or he's not a 4'3". He's not probably going to play running back in college. If he's a receiver and he's not fast and he's doing okay, and you want him to I'm saying these key things so you parents can stop getting mad at coaches when they don't have the numbers that prove them to go to a certain college. So, you know, I want to end off all that, and thanks Dan for coming on, and Coach Lowe. We're doing this every single week. And
Tremaine, one last thing I want to add to that.
Go ahead.
Two notable names right now that everybody will know: Cam Ward and Josh Allen.
Yes,
0 stars in high school.
Yeah, and I leave you with this right here. You said one more thing: a coach, a good coach, and all these high school coaches, but high school players, they do have a shot, but they said it best. And I did with my son. What helped me was taking them to them camps, taking them to them college camp, them prospect camp, taking them to camp to prepare for them camp, and that's how he got recognized. They called a coach at CFCA, Jeremy Campbell, and said, "Tell me about this kid." And he told me about him, and that what helped us get started. I put us up in perspective. We got it going. Because keep in mind, I'm going to leave you this quote: a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. This your boy, Coach Lowe for Life, a.k.a. the Camp King.
And here go Dan commercial. You can see it, and we'll end it off that at.
In the world of sports, every move counts. Every decision shapes your future.
At Influencer Counsel, we understand the importance of making the right choices and having wise counsel.
Our team specializes in legal counsel, ensuring every contract is airtight and every deal is in your best interest.
In this new world, financial responsibility is even more important than ever before. We ensure our clients understand this new responsibility and educate them on how to navigate it properly. Taxation obligations, investment opportunities, and purchasing assistance can mean the difference in their short-term and long-term success.
Our branding specialists work tirelessly to build and elevate your personal brand, making sure you stand out on and off the field. Join Influencer Counsel and maximize your opportunities. Legal, financial, branding, legacy. Your future starts here.